Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. I'm joined by Stephen Howson. 14 wins. Well, I was going to say 14 wins in 28 games. I wish it was. 14 losses in 28 games for Manchester United this season. I just want to get straight into the main talking point that a lot of people seem to have had is this substitution at half-time. Mainoo off, McTominay on. Do you think it's as simple as that cost us the game, or is there bigger issues here, other things that United need to be worried about?
Everyone wants a simplistic black and white answer. They want it. Can I get it in a bite-sized enough amount where I could tweet it and then go on and fucking carry on with my life? It probably isn't, but it also isn't not that.
I know what you
Not
mean.
double negative.
It is.
Yeah, it was definitely. I don't think it was solely that, but I think it was probably a factor. I think that would be safe to say. All season, which has been the season of McTominay playing a lot, we have seen a complete lack of control of the pitch from United. It's been basketball game. It's been people carving us open through the middle. And we've seen those two goals, more fucking times than I ever want to see them, Joe. Like, it's like I know exactly what's happening, and it's like watching a fucking slow-mo. What's going to happen? I know how this is going to play out, and no one's going to get over there and stop this. Fucking shambles. And is that all McTominay's fault? No. I think you have to recognise who he is as a footballer. And even though I don't want to see him playing regularly for Manchester United, and actually one of the things I think Mainoo, and certainly Mainoo and Eriksen together had brought, was a stability to us that stopped us being overrun through the middle of the park and stopped those check backs. They were both getting there for those. And actually the first half, it was a fucking snooze fest, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But wouldn't you take a snooze fest, not conceding fucking goals, over being wide open?
Sorry, go on.
And I think on what you get with McTominay, yeah, you might get a little bit more attacking impetus, and maybe that's what he thought he needed at the time. But you have to be knowledgeable now about what you get in a defensive point of view. He got drawn to the ball both instances and left the area of the D where is the most optimal fucking check back point, which I think Kobbie Mainoo covers. Now, obviously, we can't replay that game and throw Kobbie in and then go, there we go. He did cover that. It doesn't work like that. But I feel like Kobbie covers those areas naturally. So, is it on that? To a degree, yeah, but also we're not creating enough chances and we're not scoring goals. It's more than just that. But I think I've seen a formational change in the last few games, especially when it's been Eriksen and Mainoo, and it's been a 4-1-4-1. And the most important part of the 4-1-4-1 is the fucking one in the middle of it. It is a guy sitting behind Bruno's changed his position. And maybe that's why we're not creating as many chances anymore, because Bruno is coming deeper and defending a lot deeper than he traditionally would do. Bruno, we all laugh about it. He thinks he's a fucking striker half the time. But maybe that's why he gets in so many chance-creating opportunities. Ten Hag's clearly made the decision that we need to be more defensively robust, which I don't disagree with. I think that's, looking at how this season's gone, I agree that we need to be more defensively robust. And I think we've looked really solid by moving to, a midfield three or a 4-1-4-1, if you like, across the centre of the park. You bring McTominay into that. I'm not saying you can't use McTominay in that, but someone's got to take the responsibility of being the six. And and we saw it later on in the game where he pushed McTominay further ahead and moved Bruno further back. Like, if you know what you're going to get with McTominay, then it is on the manager to account for that and make the changes that he made. But it was too late for, I think Bruno probably covers them as well if he's in that position and he's marking the 10, because you didn't fucking see Dominguez in the first half because Mainoo was just fucking on him.
So just on this first half, second half thing, and by the way, this isn't I'm not using these stats to counter what you've said there, because you've said there's many things at play here. But when you say about what McTominay brings or what you get from either side, and I'm slightly surprised looking at this now, in the second half, United conceded less shots, had more possession, had more goal attempts, had more shots on target, had far more expected goals, all than we did in the first half. So obviously what we did get from that, and maybe part of that's from Forest sitting back after they scored their goal, but Forest also had less shots. They only had 2 shots in the second half. They had 6 in the first half. Did Ten Hag kind of get what he thought he wanted, or what he thought he would get from the McTominay substitution, but was almost limited by the fact that actually in an ideal world, that would have been Mount coming on or Casemiro coming on, or like he needed to change it so we had more attacking options, but the only option was McTominay. You know, some of it did work.
I didn't want to disagree that was the only option. You had Reguilon, which he could have used. You had Ahmad, which he eventually did use. I disagree that that was the only option and the only card he could have played. Was Hannibal on the bench today?
Hannibal was on the bench, yeah.
Right, Hannibal's a better footballer than McTominay.
Okay.
Like, is he not ready? Like, are we not seeing anything out of him at all? And yeah, the stats will show you one thing. That's fine. Mm-hmm. But the psychology of the game changes when Nottingham Forest score.
Yeah, of course.
Nottingham Forest are no longer as inclined to attack because they've got something to protect. United are forced to attack. So I think that the psychology of the game is massively impacted by the major events of the game, which is the goals that are scored. Mm-hmm. In the first half, things are a bit cagier, but we also dealt with things a lot better, I thought. Yeah. And I thought it was more boring and it was less transitional. And yes, we might have got some high expected goal shots. Not really. Did they create high expected goals which they converted from the 2 shots they had? Yeah, because they shot from great fucking locations. And I think the first one, you know, was probably a little bit fortunate that Johnny Evans just gets out of the way of it in time, whereas, you know, he's a split second later, it just hits him. Yeah. And that would have blocked the goal. But yeah, I think that I love stats, and I think stats are a great way to sort of break down what happened in a game, but you also have to have them backed up by what happened in the game. Yeah. And I think what happened in the game influenced the game. I know you guys wouldn't have had the commentary on in there. Gary Neville was complaining about it after the goal, which is why do United need to concede goals to start playing? And I think that illustrates that whole point, is that, you know, United only started playing once we did concede.
It is bizarre, isn't it? And we do keep seeing this, that, like, you know, United only started really playing when we conceded the goal, and we rely on these very sort of we rely on the other team doing something for us to react to it. Such a sort of counter-punching, counter-reacting team, when you think we're the team who's in the top half trying for Europe, and they're, you know, struggling for safety in the league, and we're waiting for their cues. You know, they're leading the dance. That's a strange thing. Do you think that's a personnel thing? Do you think that's a tactical thing? Why do you think that happens so often with United?
I think the injuries are a factor. You know, you see Howson just getting his first Premier League goal, probably raring to go, gets fucking ill. Now, I can't complain about that because I went fucking MIA because I was ill this week myself. So I'm not going to be too harsh on him. But ultimately, it's frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating when you have a fucking game plan, and then, you know, it looked like that came about literally in a similar scenario to ours on Thursday, like fucking couple of hours before you go in. Oh, by the way, I'm ill later. Like, it's annoying. And you think that momentum would have been real nice for us. Like, you could see him being really fucking at it. Like, he would have bounced into there today. And, you know, Marcus is a different style of forward, and he was largely ineffective. I think the only one who looked effective today, and I've got to give him props for this because it went against everything I expect from Garnacho, which is he wins the ball on the edge of the box from that mistake from the keeper. Yeah. I'm expecting a step over and Garnacho will pull off to the right and get a shot off. And the fact that he plays a pass, I go, shit, he's learning. And I've got to fucking give him some big credit for that, because that's not what I'm expecting from him as a player at the moment. So that's a massive positive. You know, so he literally creates the chance of the game for us by doing that. But it's not enough. You know, Luton have outscored us. Like, you can't sit around, like, for all of the over-analysis of every goal that we concede, the bottom line is we're not creating enough. There was a stat that got thrown up in the middle of the game on it. I can't remember the order of them, but basically we're in the bottom 3 for goals, expected goals, and chances created. Okay, they're probably related.
Yeah, there was one as well. It was the expected goals. Ours was -7. So not only are we not creating chances, but when we do, we miss them. That's that's another thing, isn't it? Which does come back to maybe personnel and injuries and confidence. But the chances created and the goals scored are low already. And then when your conversion rate, I think, was the worst in the league. Your XG compared to what you should be doing is one of the worst in the league. It's just a recipe for no goals and a lot of losses, isn't it? Just looking ahead then, obviously, I think it's Wigan next, isn't it? And we've got a pretty sparse January. What do you expect to see now? Because we keep hearing this thing of not going to be much in terms of the way of transfers in January. Do we pin all our hopes on these players coming back? Do you think we're going to see, some statement from Ratcliffe and, determining the future of Ten Hag? What do you expect to see? Do you think Ten Hag's on the edge, or is he pretty much safe for the rest of the year?
Honestly, I don't know. The most dangerous time for any manager is when a new owner comes in, and I know we don't have a new owner. We have a new person that's got a 25% ownership, that's got the full control of the football side. What a convoluted way of saying he's got a new boss. So having a new football boss who might want his own person in, he might work with him for a couple of weeks and go, nah, these fucking players are gash, but this guy's all right, and I believe in him. That might be the case. I would love Jim Ratcliffe to come out and make a public statement, because then it just shuts up all the speculation. And I think that would be the best thing for everyone. If there's speculation and the players think that they might be able to get this guy sacked if they don't like him, and there's definitely people in the building that don't like him, that's probably not a good thing to have. So I think Jim Ratcliffe if he decides that he is backing him, if he's not backing him, he can do what the fuck he wants, obviously. But if he goes, no, I actually think this is the guy, then you've got to tell the world this is the guy. You've got to tell Ten Hag he's the guy. You've got to maybe have a private meeting with the players and go, guess what, fuckers? He's my guy. So if you've got a problem, come see me now and we'll sort your transfer out somewhere else. And then tell the world that Ten Hag's your guy. And then everyone can start rallying behind him then, or continue rallying behind him. I don't know if we're going to sign anyone. I think it's prudent to say that you're not signing anyone, because otherwise you see desperate, and it's just a change of the tactic that we have. I mean, Woodward would have been telling every fucker how much we've got and who we're looking at trying to buy, and then wonder why we have our arse handed to us when it comes to the negotiations. So I think going into it expecting nothing, you might be a little bit surprised, and I'd be shocked if we didn't sign anyone, to be honest. And I know that there's FFP consequences to bringing anybody in, but you know what? Maybe who gives a fuck?
Yeah, we'll find a way. We've got a couple of players we can sell. Anyway, thank you very much, Steve, for coming on and joining us. 14 losses in our first 28 games this season. One of the worst starts to a Premier League season.
Can it get worse?
It can get worse. That's the thing. You always think it can't get worse. And then what was it? 7 away losses in a row under the end of Rangnick and the start of Ten Hag. So we could just lose every game. At the minute, it's win, loss, win, loss. It could just be loss, 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 loss. And hopefully it won't get to that. Thank you for coming on, Steve. Glad to see you feeling a little bit better. Thank you for watching at home. Hit subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. We'll see you in a bit.